eyes, her smile vanishing without her noticing. Turning boys into idiots is clearly her area of expertise. So how can she allow an outsider to show off her limited skills? A bad woman is a bad woman. She can't even hold her temper. Perseus looked at her with amusement, wanting to laugh, but not daring to, forcibly holding it in, but also feeling a unique sense of pleasure from it. I've heard that some people can feel good by holding in their poop and pee. So it turns out that holding and laughter can too? Your Highness Mirafara, it's a pleasure to meet you. Me too. We met at the ball last night, even though we were separated by half a ballroom. Please sit here if you don't mind. The boys, like wolves seeing a little lamb, all fawned over her, their eyes burning with desire. Whether there are dates or not, you take the plunge. If you succeed, you make a fortune. If you fail, you don't lose anything. Nobles often have much thicker skin than ordinary people. Winnie couldn't stand it anymore. So people should be careful. Her Highness is Prince Jerome's older sister. Don't take advantage of her gentleness and do whatever you want. Be careful, or her brother will block your way. Upon hearing this, most of the boys immediately quieted down, but some of the bolder ones were still testing the waters. Ms. Winnie, that's not right. We were just greeting the new students. What's wrong with that? That's right. Our thoughts are very pure. Your Highness Mirafara, do you have a boyfriend? Seeing that they dared to push their luck, Winnie frowned and was about to intimidate the scoundrels. But Mirafara just covered her mouth and smiled, unperturbed by the boys' somewhat frivolous attitude. The students are all very energetic. Someone just asked me if I have a boyfriend. No, not at all, she said with a smile, boldly revealing the truth. Oh. The boys got excited and danced wildly in the classroom, while the girls, led by Helen, looked sullen and remained silent. However, I'm sorry, I already have someone I like, she added. Before they could celebrate for long, the boys were heartbroken, and cries of despair filled the air. Perseus's heart skipped a beat. When Mirafara said she had someone she liked, she seemed to glance in his direction. Could it be? The goblin pondered. You bumped into me again. Luna turned around and gave Perseus a dissatisfied look. Chapter 21, Forbidden Invitation. Perseus initially thought he was just being presumptuous, but then Mirafara smiled and declined the invitations to sit with him, coming straight to his side. Hello, Perseus, Mirafara said, and Miss Helen, Miss Luna, and Miss Ivisa. Hello, Your Highness. I never expected to see you here, Perseus said with a smile. From now on, we're all classmates, so don't call me Your Highness, just call me by my name. Mirafara's smile was like sunlight shining into the darkness. How dare I? Apart from him, none of the other girls who were greeted by Mellifera reacted to her. Helen, this little devil, not only pretends to be an angel in front of boys, but she will also pretend in front of anyone who doesn't know her true nature. But facing Mellifera, a true angel, she had no interest in pretending anymore, so she sat there listlessly, not even bothering to exchange a few pleasantries. Luna didn't want to give Mellifera a friendly look, but she had just been taught a lesson by Perseus the night before, so she didn't dare to go against the grain and simply chose to ignore her. Ivisa, on the other hand, was naturally indifferent. If not necessary, she could go an entire day without speaking to anyone. No matter how good Mirafara seemed to others, she was not related to her, so why should she pretend to be attentive? Noticing the three girls' coldness towards her, Mirafara didn't mind and pointed to the empty seat next to Helene. Miss Helene, do you mind if I sit here? Helen smiled and said, I mind. Thank you, Miss Helen. Mirafara remained seated in that spot, her smile unchanged. Perseus was shocked. Of course, he wasn't foolish enough to think she hadn't understood what Helen was saying. He sighed inwardly, thinking that the princess was indeed a princess. No matter how weak she looked, she was no pushover. Helen started to feel uncomfortable and began to fidget, wanting to get out of the spot, but her path was blocked by Mellifera, so she could only twist and turn there. It was rare to see her like this, and Perseus noticed it. He looked at her buttocks, which looked like they had pimples, and then at Mellifera, who was looking straight ahead and listening attentively to the lesson. He couldn't help but smile. This is what they call one thing subdues another, right? However, it's rare to find someone who can control her, and he's happy to see that. After a while, the bell rang, and Winnie glanced helplessly at Ivisa, announced the end of Get Out of Class, and then left the classroom. However, instead of cheering and leaving their seats immediately, the students pretended to look at Perseus and his friends as if nothing had happened. Many people were initially delighted by Mirafara's arrival, but their enthusiasm vanished instantly upon seeing her sitting there. Despite her noble status as a princess, Miri Farah was not as aloof and distant as other noble ladies. Instead, she was very approachable, which easily won her favor. Some boys even couldn't help but have a little bit of wishful thinking about her. But now it seems that even though she seems approachable and easy to get along with, it's not someone they can or dare to get close to. Because the deadly combination of Perseus and Ivisa was so compelling, even her angelic radiance was insufficient to dispel the shadow they cast upon everyone's hearts. It's a real shame, but there's nothing we can do about it. Phew, get out of class is finally over. Perseus, let's go out and play. Luna stretched and shouted excitedly. This shout broke the silence in the classroom. Those students who had been watching this area suddenly realized what was happening and left their seats to do what they wanted, but they all tacitly avoided the area behind them. I need to go to the restroom. Helen stood up, her face expressionless. Please. Mellifera made way for her. Helen gave her a deep look, then left without looking back. Then Mellifera took the place that Helen had previously occupied, which flattered Perseus, but the confusion in his mind continued to grow. Perseus, you're wondering why I'm here to study, aren't you? Mellifera rested her chin on her hand, turning to look at him with a smile. It would be best if she were willing to say it directly, saving me the trouble of having to probe indirectly. Perseus was naturally very interested in this and held back Luna, who wanted to drag him out to have some fun. Although this little she-wolf is difficult to subdue, you can calm her down by simply putting one arm around her waist and stroking her head with the other. I am indeed curious, but if your highness is unwilling to discuss it, we can simply ignore it. Perseus smiled. Actually, this was decided on the spur of the moment yesterday, Miri Farah said. My original purpose in coming to the Empire was to attend last night's ball. I will be returning home in a few days after the ball ends. You are well aware of the nature of this ball. I am ashamed to say that I am not good-looking enough to meet His Highness the Crown Prince's approval. Yes, it was Andre who invited him to dance last night. The thought of this made Perseus feel nauseous again. Your Highness, please don't say that. Your unparalleled charm is evident to all. Although His Highness the Crown Prince did not show any favoritism towards you last night, he did not invite any other ladies either. You still have a chance. I wouldn't care about such an opportunity, whether I have it or not, Mellifera said with a faint smile. Perseus was somewhat surprised, not expecting her to say such a thing. You seem surprised? Do you think I'm a woman eager to get married? Mellifera asked. I wouldn't dare. Perseus quickly replied. The young talents who want to win your highness's favor could stretch all the way to your hometown. You don't need to worry at all. It's us who should be in a hurry. Hee, you have such a sweet tongue. Mellifera's eyes crinkled. Such sweet talk might be uncomfortable coming from other men, but it sounds so charming when you say it. Can I ask you for my blockhead brother's secret? Nothing more than sincerity. That's wonderful. But then again, I'm not in a hurry to get married, whether he's a prince or not, Mellifera said softly. When Jerome came to greet me yesterday, he told me a lot about his experiences in the Empire, and what I was most interested in was his experience at this academy. I never attended school in the kingdom. All my education came from court teachers. I've never sat in such a spacious and bright classroom, having lessons and conversations with so many classmates, strolling freely in the garden-like academy, basking in the sunlight, and discussing my studies and thoughts. Student days are truly something to cherish, Perseus remarked. Even if someone is unhappy in school, they will only be more unhappy in society. I think so too, although I've only ever heard it from others before, Miri Farah said. But yesterday I suddenly wanted to go into a school and experience it for myself. So I went to see His Majesty the Emperor of your country, and he kindly granted me this favor. That's great, welcome. Unfortunately, I can't complete 4 years of schooling like Jerome. My mother only gave me 1 year. After that, I'll have to go back to my country, and maybe I'll marry a prince from some country I've never met. Or maybe I'll marry the son of some minister. She gave a self-deprecating bitter smile. This is the fate of being a princess. Outsiders only know that we are glamorous on the outside, but only we know whether we are bitter or sweet inside. Perseus remained silent. This was not a topic he could comment on. But even if it's only for a year, I hope I can be happy. If I'm lucky, maybe I can create beautiful memories here that I'll never forget, even when I'm old and gray. She smiled again, concealing the barely perceptible loneliness in her eyes. I will do my utmost to assist your highness, Perseus said. Oh, how can I help? Your highness desires a carefree campus life, and that's perfect. Whether you're enjoying food, drinks, and fun, or confiding in someone, I'm a great companion. Whether you're happy or unhappy, you've come to the right place, Perseus said firmly. Are you really that good? Mellifera feigned doubt. Real. Then it's settled. Don't complain about me later. Mellifera laughed. What a dazzling smile. As long as I can see that smile, I'd be happy to be your playmate, or even your dog. Of course, Perseus said. Mirafara turned to Luna. Miss Luna, please take good care of me as well. Luna opened her eyes and glanced at her disdainfully, then closed them again to fully enjoy Perseus's caresses. Mirafara didn't care at all. Miss Ivisa, you too. Ivia remained silent. She still didn't care, stretched and showed off her beautiful curves, smiling contentedly, which made Luna's but suffer a little more. Perseus, come with me to find Jerome. I don't know which classroom he's in, Mellifera said. Okowo. Luna opened her eyes wide in displeasure, turning to glare at Perseus. I told you to take me out to play, but you wouldn't listen. She told you to go with her to find someone, and you did. Miss Luna, why get angry over such a small matter? Mellifera gently advised. Luna glared at her fiercely, then glared even more fiercely at Perseus, demanding an explanation. I can let you ride on my neck, Perseus said with a helpless expression. Yay! Luna immediately cheered. What a silly little thing. Is it even a question who should be happy about this? An excited Luna pounced on Perseus and licked his face wildly, covering him in saliva. Perseus still looked helpless and didn't dare to laugh, afraid that others would misunderstand him as if he was enjoying himself. Millifera's eyes held a complex expression. Knowing someone's character well, Ivisa slightly raised her eyes and gently pinched his waist. Helen did not appear in the classroom for the next class. This college is like that. The management is very loose. As long as you don't commit murder, arson, or other crimes on campus, skipping classes or leaving early is no big deal. However, you can't leave the college during the school term. The students chose to stay in the classroom because they were tired of skipping school, and even if they wanted to sleep, it was more comfortable to sleep in the classroom. It is quite unusual that a top student like the Duchess of Lamantha would skip class. When the other students noticed this, they couldn't help but whisper among themselves. But things were calm on Perseus's side, and no one cared about someone's absence. The teacher for this class is a very serious and old-fashioned person, but his teaching ability is undeniable. This time, however, he walked up to Perseus with a serious expression and placed a folded piece of paper on his brand-new textbook. Perseus was somewhat surprised. He opened the package, glanced at it, thought for a moment, put Luna, who was still clinging to his neck, on the table, and then stood up. Teacher, I need to go to the restroom. Go on. The old man gave him a meaningful look and went back to the podium to teach. Perseus left the classroom. He crumpled the note that read, I'll wait for you on the rooftop, into a ball and casually stuffed it into his pocket. Chapter 22 Girlfriend +1. In my memories of my past life, the rooftop of any school was always closed off. Although I was curious about that mysterious area, I never had the chance to see it. In some anime, the rooftop is simply paradise, a secluded haven for the male and female protagonists, unlike the sweltering, noisy classrooms. Whether you're looking to fall in love or create love here, it's a great choice. Many predecessors fought here. Pushing open the somewhat rusty door, a unique landscape unfolded before Perseus's eyes. The sky seemed exceptionally blue, and because of the high vantage point, one could see further afield beyond the city, and even the distant, layered mountains were all within sight. As soon as Perseus stepped through the door, he saw Helen. She sat on the ground, leaning against the wall in a lazy and relaxed posture, one hand covering her face, the other hand casually placed beside her, one leg stretched out, and the other fair leg touching the ground. The skirt was a bit disheveled, and the front was wide open. I wonder if I could catch a glimpse of the incredibly beautiful view beneath it if I change my position. You're here, Helen said without even looking at him. I never expected it to be you, Miss Helen. Perseus smiled. You really didn't expect that? Helen smiled. Who else would invite you to a place like this besides me? You know, this is a popular dating spot. When I came here just now, I saw a young couple hugging each other and touching each other all over. So I can take this as a date invitation? Perseus slammed the door shut behind him. I'm warning you, don't do anything reckless. Helen lowered her hand, stared at him, and smiled. If you dare to touch me without my permission, I'll throw you off the building. Miss Helen, please don't make such jokes. It's really unbecoming of you as a lady. Perseus said seriously. Bullshit about being a lady. Don't tell me you don't know what kind of woman I really am.